it usually does go a little bit in his favor. Anyhow, first map, we're getting into it now. The day has started, spawning over in the bottom right. Playing as the Red Terran, and for Team Mousesports, it is HeRoMaRinE.
And over here in the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have the blue Zerg player from Team XCOM Ago. He is Elazer. So you're talking about how, you know, Big Gabe always at the top and everything, but you also mentioned that you've seen these two play a lot. How do you usually feel like it goes? Like when Elazer, I think he has historically not done as well versus Big Gabe, especially over the last year or so. Like what usually goes wrong for him, do you think?
So you know the series between Big Gabe and Lambo?
Mm-hmm.
Like Lambo turned up and played insanely well, but the thing is, even though Gabe, and this is maybe one of the craziest things about Big Gabe, everybody kind of knows what he's going to do because he streams so damn much. And despite him saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to do something different in the tournament, which to his credit, he does. In TVZ, there isn't a lot of room for that. It's just about mechanics and how well you do things. He just played better than Lambo expected. Like Lambo admitted he underestimated Big Gabe, which you already know he's one of the best. So underestimating him, he just has this aura about him that once he starts, once he gets going, once he gets a big macro machine flowing, he's very much like a 3-base kind of Terran that knows his timings, but he's very clean. Like if there's a Terran that is by the book, like I can't think of one that's more by the book than HeRoMaRinE at this point. And to be that kind of guy, you can't just throw crazy stuff at them. Like I know you can be like, yeah, I'm gonna cheese the absolute living crap out of him, but he's so consistent about, oh, I see this means you're trying this, right? This is the reaction that I do. Like there's no worry or panic about him at all, and that makes him very, very difficult.
Yeah, man, like a juggernaut. It's so scary to see when he even just sets up those kind of like really, really nice pushes outside of a Zerg player's base, and he just has that consistent flow of units. He seems to be ready for everything that they throw at him, and just mechanically so sound. I totally agree. And well, Elazer's gonna have a hard juggernaut to try and stop. You know, trying to stop the unstoppable object is never gonna be easy. But well, Elazer is a very, very tricky fellow, I will say. He has some tricks up his sleeve a lot of the time, even in matchups where I think, yeah, it's usually just comes down to mechanics and everything. So I really want to see what Elazer pulls out in this series.
Me too, because I'll always praise Elazer for one moment in time. And I mean, he's had many good moments. He's won like $270,000 throughout his career, which just goes to show this man, he knows how to win tournaments as well. But that moment where he got voted into GSL versus the world, and people were like, oh no, he didn't deserve it. Like Reina deserved it instead. And admittedly, Reina is super damn sick, but Elazer, I can't believe that he actually managed to make the finals of that tournament. Like he went up against some real damn stiff competition, and then actually put up a super fight against an unstoppable Cyril at the time, like losing just 2-4 in the final. But yeah, he knows how to peak. The big stage is not something that he's afraid of anymore, and you can never count out this man, because knowing when to peak that's a great talent to have.
Yeah, he absolutely smashed in that event. So let's see how things shake out. We do already have kind of the semblances of these build orders. Third command center about to finish up here for HeRoMaRinE as he pokes forward with his good old Heli and Reaper combo. Pretty kind of the standard typical stuff. Blackburn, definitely one of those maps where you have that kind of slow zone area in the center. And as the game goes on and we start seeing, for example, the third base and stuff float on over, the distance between the two bases, like the two closest bases of the players, it starts feeling pretty short on this map, Ben.
Oh, it certainly does. And we can't forget the map pool either. Like, we're starting off on Blackburn, which is highly considered a Terran map. And Big Gabe, he's gone for a 3cc build off 1 gas here. He's also opted for a Viking, which is really unusual. Then the combination of a Liberator afterwards. Like, this is really weird. But this Overlord getting shot here, the fact that Elazer's actually going for a Nidus, I think this is what he was hoping for Vision. So this is already not the best for Elazer.
This is gonna get a little bit awkward. His overlords, I mean, any other places that he could actually get vision are just not out on the map just yet. And this Viking gonna continue to even push back more of the overlords. I think Elazer's probably just gonna have to rely on a Zergling or something on the other side of the map, but even the Hellions are just gonna be keeping him busy and distracted. When does the Elazer even throw up the nice one right now, or does he just have to wait?
I mean, he has to go. He's produced so many Zerglings, right? He's behind in drone count. He sees the third landing with that Zergling, and he is going to block it temporarily. Oh, okay, so he's throwing the Nidus north of the natural. And is there a wall off for HeRoMaRinE? I know HeRoMaRine's harassing with this Liberator, which is already kind of annoying. He's got a wall off here. Like, if HeRoMaRiNE has to start knowing something's going off here, like, because this is weird.
Oh, he definitely knows now as the nice room sound comes out. He sees the queens making their march, all using the Zergling to get the high ground vision and actually bypass the wall with the Nidus Swarm. It's in a tough spot also for these SCVs to get a lot of surface area on it, but we're going to see HeRoMaRinE try to knock it down. I mean, that Nidus Swarm should be finishing up very soon. And the Zerglings getting surrounded, all of the Hellions. The Hellions are all going to go down, Ben.
They certainly are, but the Nidus in the base, it had no queens to transfuse it. I don't know what was going on there. Were they out of range? A few of them did transfuse, obviously, but it's going to be tough. Elazer has to break through the wall. He has to get in here because he's on a real clock, but the SCVs are repairing absolutely everything.
Yeah, SCVs with a full surround also were able to knock out that second Nidus Swarm there in the main base. And like you said, Elazer has to get a lot more done over here. Killing off 7 or so workers and dying in the third is not enough for how committed he was, but Elazer knows he's not going to be able to break this anymore. He goes back to droning up, but how do you effectively transition from this, Ben?
Okay, so, I mean, it's going to be tough, but you're just doing some of the right stuff. You always have a few choices after something goes wrong. It's either you play as greedy as possible, or you keep on going. Players like Blythe, they just keep on going. Elazer, though, you see he's taking the gold, which is going to be his fourth base. He's droning up like a madman. But the thing is, Gabe, he knows those are the options. The fact that he's not knocking on his front door right now, he knows he needs to go, go, go.
Those double medevac drops heading across the map are going to be pretty difficult. And remember that Viking cleared out all those overlords, so this might be catching Elazer a bit off guard right now. He might need to use that Nidus Swarm to retreat back home a little bit faster as his Zerglings walk slowly across the map. And no, just not in time. GG. HeRoMaRinE takes the first game.
That was really good play by HeRoMaRinE, and it's kind of what you asked at the start, right? Like, what is it that makes Big Gabe so good? Yeah. Especially in this matchup, and he practices so much. Like, he's got several accounts, I think like maybe 5 or so. They're all in top 10 GM. He plays against some of the cheesiest fellas known to man, such as Blythe, on like a regular basis, and he knows how to shut all this stuff down. It was a good attempt by Elazer, but the build that Big Gabe went for, like the 3cc into the Viking into the Liberator, it was slightly unusual. But it was perfect in this kind of situation. Like, as soon as that first Overlord died, Elazer probably thought, damn, that's what I was really banking on. Because not a lot of people do the build that Big Gabe went for. But yeah, just smooth, just calculated. There was no panic in him whatsoever. But we do have to say that that map is usually very Terran favored. So Elazer going for something like that on the first map of the series, I don't even mind it at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be on a map that is usually favoring your opponent, and probably the map that, yeah, as we see down there in the map vetoes and picks, was HeRoMaRiNE's map choice. So that is the kind of map that you want to take a risk on, right? The maps that it's your advantage are the maps that you probably don't want to take unnecessary risks on as often. So that totally makes sense. We're going to be headed on to Lightshade for map number 2, which I think is definitely going to be hopefully a more comfortable map for Elazer to play out something a little bit more typical if he decides to go that route.
Yeah, like Lightshade has very much been a Zerg map for a while now. It's not as if Terrans cannot win on it. It's just, it gets a bit tough once you're taking like your 4th base and what have you. For a while, it was like, okay, if Terrans take 3 bases, you can roach all in it. That fell a little bit out of fashion. Then Rogue brought it back a little bit, but yeah, it's a little uncomfortable. It tends to be a nice map for Zergs defending and going for like massling Bane comps. Anyhow, spawning over in the top left as the red Terran, it is HeRoMaRiNE.
When you got an SCV out on the map as well. He's going to be up against this guy down here in the bottom right-hand side of the map. We have the blue Zerg player from XCOM Ago. He is Elazer.
I like it. I like it. Like, okay, I'm actually loving what Gabe's doing this game. You might be like, oh, I've seen this before. I'll be honest. If you can grab a game of Big Gabe doing any sort of 2-rack stuff, I'll be shocked because I don't see him do this. And I've given Gabe a lot of stick in the past for being a little bit predictable. Both builds that he's done so far are not not normal Gabe builds whatsoever. So this kind of stuff, because Elazer, there's almost no reason for a Zerg against Big Gabe to not go for 18 gas and then 17 pool. There's no reason, because he never does this build, except this time he's doing this. And look how Elazer's scouting with his overlords. Like, this one just sits there as natural. It's what he does every time, and only scouts with one of his overlords. This could spell disaster for the Zerg.
I think it's brutal. I love the way that Gabe is playing, just because I think specifically versus Elazer. Elazer is such a good player with preparation. He picks out the right build orders. He comes up with the right things. Oh, this overlord's just going to see this SCV and be like, yep, that's your first SCV coming out to scout. Like, everything looks normal.
Exactly. That's exactly the normal scout that he showed in the first game that, you know, just goes and sees your opponent. And it's like, well, you know, oh, he's actually going for the wall off. This is sick. Oh my goodness. This is flashback of me versus Idra.
Okay, well, I see on the minimap a lot of drones being pulled off the line to help deal with this massive bunker wall. Drones are going to try and move forward. They're going to try and right-click down some of these SCVs. I mean, got some good surface area on two of them. Is going to be able to snipe off one of the SCVs on the bottom side, but the other two SCVs are going to stay alive. Two drones already falling. And remember, that third bunker can be finished up by either one of the two remaining SCVs now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This big, crazy thing about this as well. Elazer was making a spine at the front, realizing, oh, no, it'll be in range.
Oh,
look at
no.
this. Big Gabe actually goes and hunts down that other overlord as well. Oh, my goodness. This... Okay, I can't fault Big Gabe's play, man. This is just... He's absolutely done his homework. And it's paying off in super dividends. Like, Elazer, he's normally the one that does his homework, and he even hops over the wall like this with the... Oh, it's great Terran play.
I cannot imagine a way that this could have gone better for Gabe, and it's a lot, like you said, thanks to his preparation, his ability to just kind of throw Elazer off from what he would have expected Big Gabe to do. GG. Big Gabe goes up 2-0 very, very quickly in this best of 5.
He is playing... I'm going to credit him so much for this, because he's not even allowing Elazer to get into a game. Big Gabe, I haven't seen this from him this entire tournament, and now honestly is the time to bring that kind of stuff out. Super thorough homework by him, and that kind of build as well, the 3 bunkers. I haven't seen that in quite a long time, so yeah, well played for bringing that back.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a short break and give Elazer some time to think about how he wants to play out game number 3, since his game plans have not been working out so well. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Barely 15 minutes into the first series of the day, Ben, and we're already seeing that the gatekeeper is closing the gate on Elazer's head right now. He's got him at a 2-0 lead after some really brutal first two games.
I mean, that second game in particular was super brutal, and the real genius of it was sending out the third SCV that I thought was just to kind of signal that, hey, I know this is going to go over under an overlord, and you're going to see that I'm scouting, but using it to then also make the bunker, that was pretty genius. Anyhow, spawning over in the top right-hand side of Oxide, as I read Terran, it is Big Gabe.
Down here on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have the blue Zerg player from Team XCOM Ago. He is Elazer.
This is such a rough position for the pole to be in as well, because Lightshade, that is the map that you kind of have to win. If you start off on Blackburn and then you know you're going to have Oxide third, that's incredibly difficult for a long time, as long as Oxide has been in the pool. This has been favorable for Terrans for sure in this matchup. It's great for tank positioning, it's great for Widowmines, it's great for pushing, and I guess almost most of all, it's one of the maps that you can very easily split, as there are only 6 bases on each side of the map, making it one of the tougher ones if it ever gets that war of attrition, which Terran generally do seem to win out against Zerg.
Yeah, Ben, I actually feel like I'm so glad you're bringing up the maps and everything, because one of the key things that I remember when HeRoMaRinE 3-0'd Lambo in the winners bracket, one of the first things that HeRoMaRinE ended up also saying was just, I won on Oxide because that was one of his picks. And he's like, yeah, I feel like that's Terran favored. Then I got like a cheeky win on 2000 Atmospheres, which is kind of what we also saw in that last map that, was Lightshade. And then he was like, and then Blackburn was another map I felt really comfortable with and that I should have had an advantage on. So he won there. And I feel like it's the exact same thing happening in this series, but you just switch the order of Oxide and Blackburn, basically. Like, that is kind of what's happening right now.
Yeah, and that's why there's so much pressure on Zerg players this season against Terrans. It might be why you have quite a few Terrans that are just, seemingly doing as well as they are against the Zergs this season. Because if you play a best of 5, I think your obvious veto as a Zerg is getting rid of Beckett, because you don't want to play that map against a Terran, never mind somebody like Clem or HeRoMaRinE. But yeah, it's definitely tough, because you have to really play your heart out on the map that is yours, because if you don't, well, you could almost be starting a series down with 2 very disadvantageous maps, which, I'll be honest, Zergs haven't had that for quite some time against Terran, and that makes it one of the best Terran map pools we've had in a long time.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Elazer can bust out here in game number 3 with his back up against the wall. So far, it looks like Big Gabe doing pretty well with his first Reaper. He's already been able to snipe off 2 of those Zerglings, but he's just doing his usual thing. He's getting up that 3rd CC. He's got his factory finished up, and going to be seeing the starport getting started up soon thereafter. But yeah, I mean, I want to ask you though, Ben, like, you have a player that is very, very much the kind of person who finds most of his advantages with particular timing attacks and build orders and a lot of planning and stuff in the form of Elazer. When your plan just does not work out, and very clear your opponent is almost super prepared for whatever you were trying to throw at him in every one of these games so far, do you change up your plan? Do you just try and play a normal game from there? Like, what do you do?
I mean, if you're asking me, do you throw all your prep out the window and just kind of go with something? I mean, his gut feeling is going to be what he's always done, but it's tough, because Gabe is the kind of guy that's been playing very well this tournament, and this series alone, he showcased some very unorthodox play for him, which is super cool. He can play the basics. I think a player like Gabe, he's just the kind of guy that you have to try and outplay. Like, you can't just flip a coin and get ahead of him like that. And Elazer, he doesn't need to rely on that. Like, I've seen a lot of his play. There was even one of these EPT weeklies where he did beat Big Gabe. So he's absolutely capable. But if it's Big Gabe throwing him off his game as opposed to the other way around, yeah, then it's all going to go awry. But this game, Big Gabe is opening up with the same build he did in game 1, but Elazer, he's not going for that all-in again, which is good for him.
Yeah, he's adding on that Baneling Nest and just getting a creep spread going further and further out on the map so far. Hellions and Reapers have not actually denied too much creep just yet. The Queen's doing a pretty nice job kind of pushing all this creep forward on multiple different fronts and getting a good amount of space in front of him on that third base, which is going to be very important because when I think of Big Gabe, honestly, Ben, most of the time I actually think of just those really scary pushes he does off of those 3 bases where he pushes in, cleans up that creep, is so patient, and gradually just whittles away at the Zerg army.
Yeah, and for Elazer as well, like he's getting some Spore Crawlers here, which will be good for this Liberator that's out in the field. Like the Liberator follow-up is definitely unusual, but I'm liking this addition. It used to be the norm for a while. But the thing is, Elazer, I don't think he's got to scout anything that's gone on. He sees the third base flying over now, which is a nice scout to get. But besides that, yeah, he has no idea what's going on.
Well, he's going to be seeing the Liberator coming on forward to his natural. A little bit late to react, but the Liberator actually misses the first shot, so he's going to be able to get away with 1 extra drone here and there. Spore Crawler is going to go ahead and burrow and push back that Liberator, which is actually not unsieging for a bit of time, so nice bit of extra damage, going to make it a bit harder for that Liberator to do as much later on. Yeah,
and Elazer actually going for the far left base here instead of this bottom one. I like that. I don't know if Elazer's been in this kind of situation before, but it means that this Liberator kind of only has 1 chance to, like, 1 mineral line to really go for. If it goes for the left side, it has to go all the way around the map or across the creep, which you don't want to be doing because then you reveal yourself. So the way that Elazer's actually expanded this time is pretty good for him. And what tech is Elazer going for so far? Just a lot of Ling Bane. He's shown a lot of respect to Gabe because it's one of the safer builds to do as a Zerg on this map, I feel.
Yeah, I actually like that positioning as well. I mean, in a sense, he's expanding further away from the third base of HeRoMaRinE and kind of makes it a little bit longer of a distance that he has to travel. Now, Marines are going to come forward, clean up a couple of these creep tumors, get forced to pick up, but I love that Elazer has already got his queens spread out around the map, ready to reinforce those creep tumors wherever need be. And man, he's actually just doing a great job on this creep spread. He's almost a little bit more than halfway across the map on every single angle at this point.
Yeah, and it's not as if Big Gabe was trying to, like, not slow him down. That chi healing as well. This just shows you, Elazer's trying to make the most out of everything. That 1 health SCV. Nice round on the Hellions as well. I mean, if he gets some damage done, that just removes the potential of Hellbats later on too with the push. Oh, nice SCV micro though by Big Gabe, and nice spot for those Hellions.
Yeah, I am amazed that he only lost 3 workers. All right, morphing the Banelings in there is a little bit bold. That might have been a group selective. Yeah, more Zerglings. He's going to get ready for a little bit of a Ling run by over there, or the Baneling run by. But Big Gabe is starting to push on forward on the edge of creep yet again, trying to clean up some more of that. The Vikings spotting out those Banelings, but did Big Gabe notice he is a bit busy and preoccupied at the front lines?
Yeah, with 2 armies as well, but the Banelings, that is massive damage being done. And this game, Elazer with that fell swoop, he is not just back in this, he actually took a massive lead.
And I love that not only did he manage to kill off all those SCVs, he actually managed to clean up quite a few of these Marines. He's chasing off of creep with the Baneling and still finding some not too bad of connections. Elazer really looking strong in this third game.
Yeah, look at the income tab. It's insane for Elazer. He's not just on 4 bases with this, he's on 5. And he just took out like a whole mineral line. Like, Gabe did not see that happening. Did he try and make a sensor tower out of that third base? He did, right? Like in between the depot wall, which absolutely got cancelled by Elazer. So, oh my goodness, that bit him in the butt.
Beautifully done so far. I mean, looking at that income graph, honestly, Ben, I almost feel like Elazer somehow unlocked the mules and just did a massive mule throwdown, because it's not very often you see a spike quite like that in favor of a Zerg.
No, definitely not. That Liberator tried to get a few more kills over there. Another Baneling run by going in.
Oh, he notices.
Oh. And the thing is, even though he's going to lose these Banelings for, you know, a few SV kills, this is just seeing that the Terran's over here and not on your side of the map when you're so far ahead. That's just great time buying.
I mean, at this point now, Elazer's been locked down on those 5 bases. He's actually mining from all of them now. He's got a 6th base that's actually on the way, and Big Gabe is still just stuck on the 3 right now. Big Gabe has a lot pinned on this push because he's just not going to have a lot of a lot left after this if it doesn't go well.
Yeah. Oh, these Banelings, they're kind of caught by a nice rally of Big Gabe and trying to micro his best against them. Even these Lings, like Elazer's trying to buy so much time here. Is it kind of too much? He's throwing away a lot of his army. And now, Big Gabe's actually hit 2-2. This is the time that he actually wants to take a fight. He needs to go, Ravi.
Yeah, he's cleaned up a decent amount of the creep, and I have to say, a lot of that creep did not get respread in time since the queens are a little bit busy. We're seeing a HeRoMaRinE getting not too great of a connection, but the Hellbat, oh my god, softening up a lot of these lings. Like you said, Ben, Elazer really needs all of his forces rallied together, but look at how many banelings he has. Look at how many banelings he's still making right now.
I mean, Elazer's rich, but Big Gabe just took an amazing fight, and the supplies are super deceiving as well. Army supply-wise, it's actually pretty damn close. Elazer's bought enough time, though, that it's +2 armors here. The banelings! Oh, Big Gabe does fly away, but takes so much damage as his third. Elazer, that would have mine. Elazer, oh my god, he's going to get third. Elazer's playing out of his mind this game.
He is doing phenomenal. These run-bys are brutal. It's putting HeRoMaRinE into an even more all-in position with this army. It's also just delaying the reinforcements. Now taking a fight off of creep. Big Gabe is going to be running away from these banelings. Does he actually have enough of the reinforcements finally coming on in after cleaning up those zerglings on the other side of the map? Big Gabe, he doesn't have that much creep spread to work through anymore. He's going to be getting in on top of the bases. But Ben, I have to say, when you are on basically 2 bases at this point, Big Gabe just taking out 1 base is not enough. He has to actually really get into the jugular of Elazer at this point.
Even though I think Big Gabe is microing better than Elazer in these fights, you can see the nerves happening. There's just too much Elazer. 2-1 Elazer. He's back on the board.
And I think that's a really important victory too, Ben, because it wasn't just a one-off kind of build. It's not like winning a game with a surprise Nidus Swarm that Big Gabe didn't scout or something. That was just a solid game with some nice Ling run-bys. The Baneling run-by obviously working out, but Elazer just played mechanically really sound throughout the game.
Yeah, that sensor tower getting denied, that sucked for Big Gabe. The fight happening when it happened, with the run-by happening at the same time, beautifully calculated by Elazer. If there's one thing that I could be like, this is one thing that you tend to punish yourself for. You know when those 4 Banelings started morphing at the third, like they're obviously going to die?
Yeah.
Maybe Big Gabe could have been like, aha, like, does this signal something else? Because this was obviously way too ballsy. Maybe these were still in the group of the run-by that was going to happen. But it's so hard to think. Like, you're trying to do so much, and StarCraft 2, it really is. You're trying to think 20 moves ahead of your opponent. That is one thing that maybe bit him in the butt a little bit, though, because that once that economy got shreked, it just halted everything else. And surviving on Oxeye for Elazer, that's actually a massive deal, as we did say that was a pretty damn good Terran map.
And now I think Elazer is going to be able to move to a comfort zone map, or at least a little bit more of a comfort zone map in the form of Romanticide. I think we actually have a bit more of a series on our hands now, not only because Elazer was able to put one on the board, but like you said, we're going to be moving on to some of the maps that might be a little bit easier to deal with. And well, Elazer, we'll see what he can pull out in this game. And if he just decides to play a kind of more standard style game again, or if he is going to go back to some of his more tricky moves as we move into game number 4.
Yeah, certainly. Game 4 will be Romanticide, though. And I'd say this is maybe in the... Zerg will probably hate me. I think it's a little bit Zerg favored. Like, it's very nice for creep spread early on. It's a bit difficult for Hellions to kind of meander around and poke from either side. Anyhow, getting on into it to introduce our player, spawning over in the top left, playing for Team Mouse Sports, it is HeRoMaRinE.
And down here in the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have the blue Zerg player from Team XCOM Uggo. He is Elazer.
Yeah, so just to talk a little bit about the map, I'm going to do this each time. Like, when it comes down to this kind of level of play, every little thing about the map truly does matter. A lot of European Zergs, they take this as their natural, but then they'll take the more forward base as their third. And if you kind of look at it, it allows really good creep spread into the center of the map, which is where a lot of fights happen. But if you want to harass with Hellions, you either harass here against the creep spread, but to try and get through to the bottom bit, you have to go all the way around the map, meaning the creep spread can get very, very out of control very quickly. And yeah, that's just a massive difference between the EU Zergs and Korean Zergs on this map. They tend to have more control, a bigger hold on the map right from the get-go.
Yeah, I think definitely the layout of the map and everything, and being able to decide where you're going to actually be able to take those fights is going to affect a lot, as we even just saw in those last couple of engagements and everything in that last game. It ends up being very, very important to keep an eye out on that. Big Gabe not going to be going for any kind of cheeky moves again. And, you know, Ben, I would be surprised if Big Gabe, like you were saying, goes for another cheeky move like that proxy. That really was an out-of-character move that kind of works once, right?
Maybe. I'll never rule out 2 Raxes from Terrans. You know, there's that meme. It's one never see it lose kind of thing. But yeah, Big Gabe, he's known for just being very good at the very standard stuff. Romanticide as well. Getting your 3-base setup as a Terran, it's super nice, super easy, super clean. It's not a map that you tend to find a lot of Zergs do all-ins. Mainly because it's just going up that ramp to the natural. It's pretty tough, actually, and having the high ground as well for a siege tank and what have you is just a very nice position. I would be surprised if HeRoMaRinE just goes for the same kind of build again, because let's be real, if that run by didn't happen, we could have been looking at a totally different game, because he was managing the fight so damn well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of things are still going pretty well for Big Gabe in that last game. But yeah, we do have that 3rd CC on the way, getting started up there for Big Gabe. I think one of the interesting facts or things to keep an eye on is going to be when he makes that starport, is he making that same kind of Viking again? Is he going for that Liberator to see if he's really just opening up truly just the same way?
Okay. This is really cool. So we talked about that 3rd base, the forward one that the European Zergs tend to take. This build is something that I've seen Clem go for a lot. So it's 3CC into 2-1-1. Not to be confused with the old school 2-on-1. Like, this is newer, it's better, it's cleaner. But this allows you to do a push with Marine, Hellion, Medevacs, and you can really get more control of the middle and really put more pressure and emphasis on denying that creep in the center of the map, which is most likely where you're going to fight later on. And it allows you to set up the battle zone, if you will, except it's just going to have way less creep on it, which is what you need.
Yeah. Definitely interested to see how that one plays out, because like you said, that's going to allow him to get aggressive with those early set of units and setting up the battle zone. I mean, you were talking about the layout of this map and everything, and these rocks that we're still just looking at right now. This is like the perfect siege up setup position for a lot of Terran players. If he's able to control the early pace of the game, this is definitely going to open up the way for this area to maybe become a battleground zone for HeRoMaRinE later on with his follow-up pushes.
Yeah, like the ideal, those are destructible rocks that you see. Oh, that's actually quite a big scout. Seeing the 2 Marines there as opposed to just 1. Yeah, that might give it a little bit away. But you didn't see any of the buildings. Okay, these rocks that the Hellions are sent at, if you can deny those from being broke, it kind of stops you from being able to get surrounded, because setting up a surround, oh, great grenade.
Yeah, knocks that queen back. Might actually be able to get it since there's no transfuses available. Nicely done. And I think that Elazer really wants to be able to knock down these rocks. He should be able to. I mean, if HeRoMaRinE doesn't feel like he has the opportunity to continue denying the attacking of these rocks with these Hellions.
That cheeky healing, by the way, got in there, saw the Marines, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to head back home. And he got out of there to tell the tale. You can see this creep spread from Elazer, by the way. Like, in every game so far that he's managed to spread creep, he hasn't just died. It's actually been really good. So he kills those rocks, but it's the other ones that you really want to be able to get down. Like Big Gabe, he's going to do exactly what we said, right? Like, he's going to go try and deal pressure in the middle of the map, because Romanticide really lends itself to these battles in the middle.
All right, here's the big moment over here. We've seen some of the rocks that's trying to get knocked down in the center area, and it looks like he will be able to deny that for a little bit. The queen count definitely going to be holding the line against these Marines for quite a bit of time, but the game still find opportunities to snipe off some creep tumors here and there. Snipes off one, almost snipes off a second one. He's going to use his own Hellion to get that splash damage, knock out another creep tumor at the sacrifice of a single unit there.
Yeah, now we get to a real tug of war here. Elazer, he's going for it off creep. He does have, like, the Ling support, the Queen support as well. And this is where you're going to see, like, this is the difference in real super old school TVZ or ZVT even. Creep really does mean everything. It is the difference between winning a fight, losing a fight. But Big Gabe, he's not going to slow down anytime soon.
Gonna be able to deny a fourth base over here. That's a nice snipe off for Big Gabe as he also just elevator straight over to the main base. Elazer does have all of his lings coming to meet everything, but I actually do want to know there's no creep spread fully in the main base. He doesn't have even the natural to the main being connected just yet. So might slow things down if the queens ever have to react to some of these medevac drops continuously coming in and out. A slow 2 Baneling run by. That is definitely a new one for me, but we'll see if it gets any damage at that third. No, Big Gabe is on top of it.
Yeah, the wall being far away, spotted it nice and early. And yeah, now Gabe's got 2 drops on the map. He's got this down here and this over here. This is where things can start to spiral out of control a bit. He is getting on his second factory. He's going up to 5 racks as well. Both are getting their upgrades. This is just a very good TVZ so far.
Yeah, Big Gabe set up on the edge of that main base right now. The Queen's focus firing down the medevacs, saying, all right, these medevacs and these Marines have been so annoying. If I can take them out at their source, if I can take out their healing and their mobility, and I can at least shut down some of these drops, the Ling's not going to fare so well against those Marines in a choke point, but they do force the liftoff and an evacuation there from HeRoMaRinE.
Elazer's defended well for sure, but if I'm looking at the work account, HeRoMaRinE has macroed up so damn well that he's actually been ahead in work account for some time. He has started his 4th base now. He is so damn rich. There's obviously been no pressure on his side of the map. And the fact that he's constantly denied this attempt at a 5th base over here, HeRoMaRiNE's playing so damn well. And he is, like, even though the creep spread is still doing very solid for Elazer, HeRoMaRiNE isn't stopping at cleaning that up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stark difference from the last game, but here we go. A fight a little bit closer onto creep, so Elazer should be able to push that back. The creep spread, even in the main base, has been pushed back quite a bit, which keeps giving this singular drop right here an opportunity to continue to do little bits and pieces of damage. The 4th base trying to go up again. I think that Elazer will finally get the cleanup on these Marines and the medevacs. On the north side of the map, we also see that those medevacs are forced to retreat. Elazer has finally bought himself a little bit of breathing room after all of this, but we already see that Big Gabe is already loading up more medevacs. He's getting ready to do even more harass.
Phase 2 begins now. The HeRoMaRinE drops and that drilling clause is coming along as well. He's getting up to 8 barracks. He's getting the armor upgrades on his factory units as well. While Elazer, he can breathe a sigh of relief for now. He does know that this isn't going to stop anytime soon. Big Gabe is a player that likes to play with tempo. It is the absolute best way of approaching TVZ. And Elazer, yeah, he's getting ready for it. He's no slouch either.
Yeah, Elazer has been all on the defensive. This south angle, though, barely has any creep spread to work with. The Marine's going to be able to pick up into the medevacs for the absolute last second. Only one of those Banelings getting a hit off over there. We're starting to see the medevacs coming in with the Widow Mines, getting some pretty juicy connections there. 9 drones and a handful of Lings going down. But Big Gabe is losing a lot of the Marines on the south side, so I have to say Elazer's doing a good job on the bottom side of the map with the defense.
He is, but he just produced 14 drones at once, and even though he's got a pretty big army, Big Gabe isn't slowing down, and that's the big thing. He's actually taking quite a big supply lead, and if he splits up, if he doesn't take damage, okay, that was last second. Very soon, they're both going to be at 2-2, which is all well and good, but Big Gabe's taking a 4th behind this, and soon those extra, like the full 8 racks, it's going to be flowing. So it's going to keep ramping up for the Terran.
Yeah, Big Gabe is working off of such a stellar economy, like you were saying, an untouched economy, so we can keep throwing these units at Elazer and just taking somewhat even-ish trades here and there. And Elazer, like you said, he has been the defender this entire game so far. He's finding, finally, little opportunities to get a couple of Banelings to run by, knocks out the sensor tower. That's nice and good. Oh, Widow Mine's doing a little bit of a trail action there on the Marines, and I think that may give Elazer an opportunity to push a bit further, but the Widow Mine connects on a lot of those Lings and Banelings, knocks out some of the Marines. Banelings cleaning up the drop inside the natural expansion, and Big Gabe is continuing to push in on this left-hand side.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why this is happening, Elazer went up to 90 drones. He needed to catch up in that number. He really needed to, but there's so much Gabe everywhere on the map. He's pushing over here. He's pushing down in the main of Elazer as well. He's even coming across the middle. Marauders are joining his army as well, which will make it so hard to stop. I think there's just too much HeRoMaRinE everywhere. He's playing so freaking fast this game.
He is finally starting to just completely overwhelm Elazer, even though Overlord's starting to fall over here. Lings without any Baneling support starting to fall. There's only 14 Banelings left on the map right now. There's Hydras being made. Widow Mines getting some okay connections, but the Banelings cleaning up some of the drops on the south side. Can Elazer stabilize? He is doing some run by attacks at the third base, but even that looks like it's getting pushed back.
Yeah, it's so difficult. Like, he was keeping up in upgrades as well the whole game, but now Big Gabe, because he's so rich, he's at 81 SCVs. He's going to 3-3. Elazer's been halted in so many ways. He's trying to catch up. He's building units to fend off the army. Widowmine's left here, there, and everywhere as well. It's just, this is a horrible situation for a Zerg to be in. There's just too much Terran everywhere.
Big Gabe continuing forward. And it seems like Elazer is starting to run a bit drier on units. I love the run by over there. He gets a lot of worker kills, but he's still behind in workers even after those beautiful, beautiful shots. The Hydras are going to get taken out. The Banelings being killed even as they morph on in. And Big Gabe, he might retreat, but he is going to be getting another base in exchange for this. And Elazer's economy is in shambles now.
Yeah, he may have lost that battle or, you know, went even in it, but every other one that's going on the map, he's won it. Hands down. His money, it's been below 300 at all times. That production tab, look at it. It hasn't slowed down. Phenomenal production, and it's only going to get worse from here. Big Gabe takes it 3-1. Honestly, such good play in this